Over the past 2 years, I threw everything I could into this iPad mini. From gaming to editing photos and videos, I did everything I could to maximize it the best way that I can. But the reality is that it can only do so much, and over time, the processing power of its chip will show its age. Now, I could upgrade to the 7th generation and call it a day, but I don't think it's worth my money because, in my opinion, the 7th generation is barely an upgrade. This base model Mini 6 is still very capable and very reliable in so many levels, which is why today I will be discussing how I turned this little device into my ultimate thinking tool and my second brain. We'll be going through my setup and the apps that I use for ideation, research, and media consumption. By the way, if you're interested in the wallpapers and the icons I use for my minimal iPad setup, I have linked them in the description below. When you download and use them for your devices, you really help the channel out, so thank you in advance. Let's get started. So I wanted my iPad to have as little apps and as little clutter as possible, which is why you will see that this is my home screen. I only have the most essential apps installed here. That would be Files, Arc Browser, Notion, ChatGPT, Messenger, and Spotify. And that's basically it. Of course, swiping to the right, I do still have some apps installed, but I wanted them to be in the app library. I wanted to create a space within my iPad that's solely centered on productivity and writing, which is why I have a very simple homepage so that whenever I start working, I know exactly where to go and there's less friction and distraction. Before I discuss my apps, I'd like you to know that I currently don't have a laptop. I gave my M2 Air to my wife since she needed to upgrade from her Intel Air, and I don't think that I really need a laptop because I mostly work from home and my machines are more than capable of handling my daily workload, at least for now. There are just some times when I work outside and I need to do some admin tasks and write my content, which is what the iPad mini is for. Now let's discuss my frequently used apps. Notion is still my project management and main database tool. I interchange it with Skrinntel, but Skrinntel is currently not available for the iPad yet, and I mainly use it for ideation and mind mapping. The setup is still the same. I have my homepage where I organize my personal accounts. Basically, this is just my database for me to be on top of my personal life and my lifestyle in general. It's a hub where I input data for me to reference from time to time. And I've been using this system for 4 years now, and I think that having a home slash lifestyle slash life in general hub is a must do if you want to build a second brain. Now, let's head on over to my workspace. This is essentially my main project management hub. I write my scripts here, organize my content, and check on my daily and weekly tasks for running my socials. I'm a full-time creator now, and I also do product design, so I use my Notion workspace to basically create pages that contain information about my projects as a creator, designer, and music producer. From Notion, I write scripts manually, and I ask ChatGPT for spell checks, flow improvements, and fine-tuning. I almost never use it to start an idea from scratch, although it's a handy tool for compressing and fine-tuning my scripts and ideas to make them more digestible. I also use ChatGPT prompts to help me plan my weekly content and tabulate them for easy reading. Now, for research and media consumption, I use Arc Browser. I switched from Safari to Brave a couple years back, then Brave to Arc because of its AI summarization capabilities. Currently, I've been researching studio display alternatives, and I can actually prompt Arc to browse for me and make a list of the best candidates. You can do this using their Browse for Me feature. It has a clean UI and it's easy to switch between the Arc search and the Google search bar. Also has a clean approach when it comes to switching to tabs. Unlike the traditional browser, your tabs are found when you click this small icon, so it reduces clutter while browsing. The native Files app is also where I sync my files from my Mac Mini to the iPad. I usually use this for transferring some PDFs, music files for mixing, and backing tracks for my band. Messenger is essential since this is where I mostly communicate with my family and friends, and of course, Spotify is where I listen to music wherever I go. Now let's head on over to my gear. As a creative, the iPad is a great tool, but its flat design can be a little limiting. Now, if you have been noticing my B-rolls, my Mini is actually integrated with the new Dynamic Folio from MOFT, who's actually sponsoring a portion of today's video. I've always been such a huge fan of MOFT's product designs, and since I started my creative journey, I've always used MOFT's cases for the iPad. So when this came out, I got really excited because this folio remains true to its name. It's really dynamic in a way that you can use your iPad in so many angles. It's not only super thin, but it also elevates my iPad in multiple angles. All you have to do is to just fold it once from the back and you can have a 30-degree floating mode. It raises the iPad by 2 inches and it gives a comfortable angle if you want to use it while drawing and writing. This is easily one of the most ergonomic ways to let you use the iPad for creative purposes. So instead of using your iPad flat like a paper and possibly suffering from neck strains, this kind of setup allows for a more pleasant writing experience. I like using this when I want to study, edit, or revise plans for my projects that require some technical drafting. Now with just one flip, you can enjoy the 60-degree floating mode. This angle is perfect for media consumption, so whether you're watching your shows while you work or you're scrolling for ideas on Pinterest or whatnot, the iPad is raised by 3 inches to allow for a more comfortable viewing experience. This is also great if you want to use your iPad as a sidebar, for example, for your Mac. Next up is the dual screen mode. I think this is one of the most interesting features of the Dynamic Folio because it allows you to mount your phone on the case itself while you use the iPad. So essentially, if you're an artist or someone who likes to draw or draft, you can use your phone as a reference screen and then draw on the iPad. My iPad is too small for this function though, since my phone is pretty big against it, but you get the idea. This is great if you have at least an 11-inch iPad, but it still works with the mini. Now, if you're not using it with your phone, with this folding angle, you can also rest it on your lap. You can read stuff comfortably, write on it, sketch on it, and basically lounge with it wherever you go. This fold also allows you to hold the iPad nicely with your hands since it allows you to have a comfortable grip. Now, if you want to use the iPad vertically, all you have to do is to unfold this little corner on the folio and it will support your iPad for vertical use. Or if you want to use a more stable fold, you just have to simply use the middle magnetic lock and latch it onto the folded cover. To complete the experience, MOFT also designed the Dynamic Folio to accommodate their quick release Apple Pencil holder. It snugly attaches to the folio's backside and it's meant to keep your Apple Pencil in place so that it doesn't fall off. It houses the pencil nicely and they even made use of the flap and turned it into a ruler so you can use it for manual drawing. And I really think that this is a great design input from MOFT. The Dynamic Folio is made of their patented vegan leather called MOVAS, which gives it a smooth yet rugged finish that's scratch and water resistant. It's also noteworthy to mention that it's quite thin and lightweight, which is a great deal for portability. This is what makes it an ideal folio to pair with the iPad mini if you're someone who likes to work anywhere. In terms of color, I've had a bunch of MOFT MOVAS cases for years now and they barely show any discoloration, so I can say that they will last long. The magnets are also noticeably stronger than their old designs. The Dynamic Folio is available in 2 colorways, this gray and blue one, and the jet black version. Knowing MOFT, I think that in the near future, they will be releasing more colors, so there's going to be more choices. Overall, I think that for us creatives, utilizing the iPad for thinking, ideating, and doing creative work, the Dynamic Folio is a perfect pair for it. And I say this with a lot of objectivity. I think that this little folio allows you to stretch your productivity in ways that a normal case would not allow. Its design is quite unique, but also useful in many aspects. And might I add, it's not as cumbersome to operate as their old origami design on the Float Folio case. That one requires a little more effort, brain cells, and muscle memory to use. Not gonna lie. So if you want to pick one up for yourself, the link is in the description down below. Thanks again, MOFT, for sponsoring this portion of the video. Next up, I used the K3 Max from Keychron for a more pleasant typing experience. I believe this one matches the iPad mini nicely because of its slim and lightweight design. You know that in my past videos, I used the old version of the K3, and up until today, I still think that pairing it with a mini is pretty great. Keychron updated the K3 with better switches and connectivity, and they also upgraded the keycaps. This one connects to your iPad via Bluetooth, and the pairing is pretty fast as well. And if I want to work outside, it can fit in my backpack nicely. I could just use a Magic Keyboard, but I'm partial to mechanical keyboards because they really do provide a sublime typing experience compared to membrane ones. Lastly, if I want to listen to something while working, I use my Sony XM5 for a solid listening experience, and I still think it's the king of ANC for wireless headphones and at half the price of the AirPods Max. This thing delivers a lot of value. The sound is absolutely fantastic, and I like the fact that it comes with an app that gives you an option to tweak its EQ. I traveled with it recently and I wore it during a plane ride, and I can't stress how responsive the noise cancellation is on this one. So that's why I consider it to be a great audio device for the iPad mini. And that's my current iPad setup. This lean setup is a great way for me to focus on my work, reduce distractions, simplify my ideation process, and of course, enjoy my experience when I use the iPad. And I hope this helped you get ideas for your own minimal iPad setup. I may consider getting a bigger iPad this year for a larger screen in real estate and do a similar kind of setup, but for now, this would be my go-to. If this video provided value for you, please consider subscribing and hitting the bell button so you don't miss any of my uploads. If you have any questions, leave a comment and I'll do my best to answer them. For behind the scenes and updates, follow me on Instagram, TikTok, and Threads. With that being said, I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.